Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, because we were serving both of the towns, and then the diocese decided that after we helped them conduct a survey of all our parishioners and potential parishioners in Wayland, and the survey proved that separating the churches would be wise, or would be able to survive. The church, a parish in Weston would be able to survive. And so we as a parish here were very helpful in trying to get them started. And I don't think we ever gave them money, but we did a lot in other ways in helping them bring together the parish, which later became the Church of the Holy Spirit. Again, it was the Mainstone Farm that donated, or Nat Hamlin family. He was a parishioner here, but he donated the church on Rice Road where they're located. That was property owned by Mainstone Farm. But we were very active in helping them get started, and we lost a number of families. I think almost 100 families that we had that were Wayland families, and therefore we did not have the benefit of their worshiping and supporting St. Peter's. But it's all well and good, and expansion of the ministry. Trying to think of some of the other problems we faced in the move. I think for a while, as I recall, we worshipped on Laxfield Road in the family house that had that large house there at 1 Laxfield Road, and I'm trying to think why. It was either because we had to turn over the other facilities to Christian Scientists, and these weren't ready for our worshiping.
That's very interesting.
I know another thing that was important. The staging of constructing what you now see was broken up because we needed the parish hall and the offices first. So that part of the church was built first. Of course, this leads into several things because as this building standing by itself was pretty ugly. I mean, the parish hall was pretty ugly. It looked like a great huge barn. So people would drive by and say, "What in the world is St. Peter's building out there? What kind of a church is that going to be?" When all you could see was what is this portion of the church, which is the parish house, which looked like a barn. But it was essential that we do that first, so we take care of Sunday school and the administrative activities while the rest of the church was being constructed. And if you look at the logo that we use on all our bulletins now, the picture of St. Peter's that you see is not exactly what it is now. The parish house was much smaller. The architects, I don't think I mentioned, were Horan, Dorn, and Horan, I can't remember. Anyway, it was a succeeding firm of Cram and Ferguson. Cram and Ferguson were well-known church architects. Oh, Horan, Dorn, and Berry. That was the architectural firm, and they were horrified when we didn't like the fact that the parish house and that wing of the church was much too small for our needs. So there was an architect, a parishioner, Alex McIntosh, and he was not a church architect. Actually, he was a nuclear architect. He was involved in the development of the atomic bomb, so he had no relationship with the church. But anyway, he came up with the design for the church, which was not in proportion with what Hoyle, Dorn, and Berry felt was proper for the parish hall itself, or the church itself. but there it was. So then we had this big barn-like structure as the parish hall, and it was fairly ugly. So then we went to Mrs. Wells' forest out behind her house on Ash Street, and they moved two full-grown maples and placed it in front, and that hid the parish house. So the purpose of the maples, which we just recently have destroyed and cut down, was to soften the relationship between the parish house and the church itself. And it did. It accomplished that. It was a wonderful solution to our problem, and was, of course, guided by the architects who didn't like this parish house in the first place anyway. But thank goodness we did it, because the size of it was very necessary. And of course, now it houses the Sunday school and the administration facilities for it. But that was what happened. They built the parish house first, and then we built the church part. The Gambrels were very active in the church, and of course were major donor. They gave the Chauncey organ now, which was a work of art at the time. The big organ out there was a major. It cost, I think I mentioned, $50,000 or $55,000, and the Gambrels donated those funds so we could have that beautiful pipe organ that we have now. It's an Aeolian Skinner organ, and Aeolian Skinners their history is tied in with Weston, because they were the organ factory that was up on Brooks Road used to be an organ factory up there way back in the turn of the 19th century. And that was Aeolian Skinner, so it's proper that we have an Aeolian Skinner organ in our church here. Can't think of anything else, but I think so many of those things are of historical interest. I'm available to answer questions to anyone who is, or I would welcome additions, because I think there are a few parishioners that still remain from those old days.